Hello and welcome to Tea and a Chit Chat Live. My name is Russell. You'll know me if you've seen the stream before, but you'll definitely know Efka, Elaine, and Bessie, who have joined for us today. And yes, in case this is a bit weird, I forgot to press record on the stream, so if you're watching this on YouTube, my apologies for the abrupt introduction. But yes, anyway, I don't know if you managed to see, but when we had Dan and Connie from Steeped Games, obviously they're big tea people. They are tea. What do they call them? Tea people who are, what's the name? Influencers. They're tea influencers. They get sent tea because of the game that they made. So I would suggest you approach some tea companies, and maybe they'll send you some free tea as a result.
Who knows? We don't feature a lot of tea in our videos though, so no. I don't feel like it's gonna be a thing for us. I think we're a lot.
That's what I should be doing. That's my next step. I'm going to become a tea influencer.
What are you drinking? Are you drinking?
So tea? I have so my partner's mum gifted me a box of like a variety box of teas, which is like 6 different ones from France. Obviously they're not grown in France, but like French picked or whatever. And so I just pick one of those at random. So I actually don't know what I'm drinking. It tastes very like floral though, so I imagine it's like an Earl Grey or something like that. But
on the violet.
So yeah, but to be honest, like I generally just stick like a PG Tips or like a Welsh brew in there, like a kind of normal but boring tea. So apologies. Iron Spy's joint.
I'm sorry, I'm culturally ignorant. What's a Welsh brew?
Again,
I don't know.
Not a tea that is made or picked in Wales, but a tea that has been specially picked like to be a Welsh representative tea, I guess. I don't know the specifics, but yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is.
That weirdest thing?
It's like
you have Yorkshire tea or Welsh tea, but they're all picked in the same
They're
places.
probably in the same fields, to be honest. I don't know. Starting this conspiracy theory. Anyway,
but there's all there's different methods of fermentation and stuff like that, you know, and like
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
But anyway, we could talk about tea for the rest of the chat, but I've got some questions I'd like to put to you. First question, actually, very important. Are you both safe and well? Obviously, we are coming to the end of this kind of world-changing situation. When I say coming to the end, we're starting to ease out of it. But are you both safe and are you both well? That's what I want to know.
Are we safe and well? I think
we're safe.
So.
Yeah. We haven't been out of the house for 4 months.
Yeah.
Apart from walking the dog. So
it's such a strange like change around thing. I mean, the good news is, you know, you are in the right hobby for being stuck inside the house with your, partner. So kudos to you on that. But
true, yeah.
I unfortunately have picked somebody who doesn't necessarily like board games as much as me. So
such a rookie error.
I know. If only I'd known what was going to come up. But yeah, okay. So I'm glad to hear that you're both safe and well. Obviously, you have still been creating content in the meantime, which has been really good. And how's that been? Okay, because has it kind of helped alleviate some of the sort of craziness of the world, the fact that you can still just do, your normal thing? I mean, albeit with some slight differences, I guess.
I don't think that... So, okay, we're definitely fortunate in that we are together in the same place and we can keep playing games and theoretically make videos. I think what we do is definitely slowed down in some ways because... whether you like it or not, this what we do, I would consider creative work, and creative work frequently needs a good environment, to be good. Yeah. So to make anything good, it just takes more time, and there's a lot more what I call dead days, where you just can't achieve anything because you need to make something that's not just like, I can't just like lift it and carry it and put it down in a place, and that is physically demanding, but in terms of achieving it is not complicated, right? Whereas with creative work, you need to...
have you ever tried to build a wall? Because that's pretty damn complicated.
No,
honestly.
I'm not saying, but
picking up from that point though, I know what you mean. Even though that we like I know that we are as safe as we can be here right now, and we can still carry on doing what we can do, but there's still that kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs where you have this overbearing, like in your monkey brain, you go, I'm not safe.
Yeah.
Like I'm not safe
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And that kind of like real ingrained fear
Yeah.
of what's happening, it makes you not be able to do things
as well as normally you would. Yeah.
this is
There's
true.
definitely an underlying current of uncertainty
Yeah.
to everything we do right now, and
And
that's
everything takes so much more effort.
Yeah.
Like when we get a parcel delivered or the postman comes, you know, we're like, can you just step back, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
another 3 feet, please, and
Yeah.
open the door, and can you just put it on the path, and then I'll come out and get it. And then then they're taking pictures because they need to know you've got the parcel and everything. And then when you're like washing your hands, and then you open the parcel, tip it all out, and it just, everything is just so much more effort.
Yeah, everything feels like a ritual where
Yeah.
it used to be normal, and it's just now, oh, I have to go through this thing again.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I guess this I shouldn't be complaining because you know, we're fine and well and healthy, right?
I'm not complaining at all, but it's just a real inside feeling of lack of safety.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a conscious feeling. It's a real subconscious feeling of lack of safety.
You say about it's funny you said about taking pictures. That's a new thing to me. I'm not sure if it is to anyone else, but my housemate answered the door to the postman once, and he said, "Oh, can I take a picture?" And she posed. She thought that he wanted a picture of her. So that was weird.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I saw someone getting a Deliveroo of McDonald's, like one of our neighbours, and he said, "Can I take a picture?" And she did the same thing. She like held up the bag like this, like, and smiled.
There are two types of people, aren't there? One who'd like back out of it, and then the ones who like embrace it. I remember actually because we the whole like virus thing started just when aircon happened, and I remember, you know, I bumped into you there. I think we actually spoke for the first time at that convention, which was really nice. And I remember you sort of like articulating the same sort of mental sort of thoughts about this whole thing. The fact that you even felt guilty at being at the con itself, and I think that, you know, it's a horrible, you know, feeling, and I get that. But yeah, I guess we're doing the right thing, and you can kind of take solace in that. And like, you know, the people doing the right thing is what's going to make this thing go away quicker. And so as long as you're doing the right thing, even though it sucks for you and I, it's the right thing to do. So yeah, I mean, hopefully it won't be too much longer, and like things are going to go back to normal, hopefully with some progress in, you know, in terms of the vaccine and stuff. But yeah, I don't want to dwell too much on that point, but obviously because I'll talk about fun things. So one thing I want to know, because obviously you both have attained, you know, quite a level of success in what you do already, and I hope I'm right in saying, I know Efka, you're fully sort of funded by your audience now, is that right? You can do your job purely from the money, the support that you've got from your fans, is that correct? And Elaine, you're part-time?
No, I'm doing it also.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're both full-time. So that, I mean, that is a level of success that obviously very few people would have. How does that make you feel, like, when you look back at when you started? How does that make you feel to be at this point today?
I mean, like, it feels all right. No, like, I don't want to. It's a weird question to answer because, like, how do you equate success and whether we consider it success, right? For me, it doesn't feel like, oh, like we're, you know, board game reviewers that are like we're very well known or whatever. Because for us, like, the climb has been, you know, like that. It hasn't been, you know, whoop, like that, right? We always felt like, I don't know, I'd say when we started, we knew nothing about anything.
No.
And whether that was like, you know, writing a good review or, you know, filming gear or sound or editing or anything like that, right? And it's always been an experimental and learning journey. And there is certainly have been over time some peaks when we've noticed like, oh, things are doing well right now, you know. But overall, we just feel like we've like, okay, you know, we've done a thing, it worked or it didn't work. What's the next step? Like, okay, let's do that now.
Yeah.
How can we do that better, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's really just been 6 years of that. Uh, so
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mhm.
But I think more for me, like I think our philosophy, and correct me if I'm speaking for you, but like our philosophy has always been kind of a never settle philosophy. So we will try and do the best we can and continue to do the best we can and continue to improve and make things better, but write better scripts, do better editing, film better B-roll, get a better gear, blah 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 blah. Just be better at what we do, and hopefully people will
Warmed.
join it.
yeah.
Yeah. If and I think certainly at the beginning we
Mm.
kind of didn't really care. Not didn't care, but we didn't have any big aspirations. Like we were just doing it for fun, and if people were enjoying it, then great. And we still feel like that to some extent.
To some
I think.
extent, yeah.
But now we're just super grateful to everybody who does support us.
And because it's work, I think I take it a lot more seriously. I wanted to interject. Do you know that
Yeah.
never settle is the OnePlus
I know,
phone
yeah,
motto?
I know.
Is the what? The
Probably should
phone?
reword that.
The phone company. Oh,
Yeah, the phone
I
company.
didn't
The
know
OnePlus
that.
phone company
Yeah.
never settle. Yeah.
Yeah. But
It's a fine. It's
never-
a fine philosophy. I think that more than one person can have that. It's not like it's your, no pun included, motto.
No.
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 I think for me the biggest change, I guess, so now we're both full time. Last year's campaign was to get Elaine part time, and that worked.
Yeah.
But this year we were in a comfortable enough position that we felt like, no, we can just. Well, actually, you went full time in November. Yeah. Yeah, like I think that the only difference is that we take it a little bit more serious right now in terms of what we do. We have to, because we're aware that like what we do can have an effect. We're a lot more careful about how we word things, and like just to be more fair to everyone involved, if that makes sense. Before there wasn't that sort of like, it was a little bit more free in that way, where it's like, can we do this silly thing? Let's do
Probably,
it.
yeah.
And I don't, when I say, like more careful, I don't mean like we did something offensive or anything like that, but more like, like we didn't think as much, oh, could we upset this publisher, or or something like that, right? And that sort of just flowed very freely, and we certainly taken some liberties at times. I remember reviewing viticulture and pretending that I was drunk from wine. I don't think that's something I would do right now.
No. But you learn and you grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I think that's often forgotten when you're doing, creative content. I know that there's been numerous occasions lately I've seen that where people have like come to regret sort of like jokes, that things they may have done in the past. But I think obviously we do tend to forget that when you do creative things, it is a learning experience. You are going to try and do riskier things earlier on, and it might not work, it might do, but I think you have to take that into account. And I think looking at where you are now and sort of like the quality of content that you produce is more important than kind of focusing on some things where you wouldn't have done it necessarily 100% the same way back then. I think you're doing very good content. I think you premium content, and so I think you should be at least proud of that. And I don't like the idea that it never settle. I think that's good. I think that looking at where you guys were then and where you are now, and to see another sort of leap like that in the future, it'd be very exciting to see what's coming up. Speaking of which, I'll turn that into a question. Have you got any plans for, because I know streaming is a fairly new thing for you. That's obviously something that didn't do before. Is there anything else you're thinking of? You don't have to say what it is, but have you got any sort of other plans to do things in the future that you're not doing now?
It's hard to say. We tend to mostly, because the way we've built No Pun Included is very much experimental. It's just, can we do this? And if we can, how does it look like? What are we getting out of it? Some things that we do take off for us personally, some things don't. And I also don't mean that in terms of like, like in terms of audience, whether people are watching it or not, but more like, am I enjoying doing this? Because so much of what work has become for me is how much personal in not so much enjoyment, but like satisfaction am I getting out of it? And I really want to distinguish enjoyment from satisfaction, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
How well do you feel
Yeah.
you're achieving what you want to achieve?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you start something new, then you have to stick by it, and you have to, you know, you have to,
Or not.
or not. You can't always drop it, right? But like, it feels like, you know, I want to be doing things where I'm having, you know, not.
I think we avoid making kind of big announcements or generalized statements about, hey, we're going to be doing this, because we know that it isn't necessary. It may never happen, because we may do it. We may record something and then go, we are not. This did not work. Like we at the very beginning of no pun included, we when we went to UK Games Expo, we were like, hey, I know what we can do. This will be fun. Let's do interviews with people. And we were so bad.
Yeah, it was so unpleasant.
I don't think they're on the
No,
they've been wiped from the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have been purged from the internet. But when I watched them back a few years later, it was just so
It wasn't
awful.
just bad. I just I was acutely aware I was not having a good time. I did not enjoy.
It wasn't. We didn't do anything offensive or bad.
Yeah.
Or terrible. It just wasn't very good.
Yeah, because the thing with conventions as well, and interviewing people at conventions, is that everyone there who has anything are there to sell it, right? Like they are there. They have a marketing spiel prepared, and no one's really having a conversation with you. They're not like, you know, they're not sitting down with a cup of tea, right, and like talking to each other.
Nice chat.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
They're more like, you know, well,
Presenting.
yeah, they're presenting because hopefully it'll go out somewhere and someone will see it, and you know, might as well do my best. Yeah. So there, I really hated doing that. Like, genuinely, honestly hated doing that. But my point, I guess, what I was trying to say is that with stuff like streaming, and things like that, this is like, we started it, but this is for us very much an experiment. We're just seeing whether we're enjoying it, whether we're having a nice time, and whether we even want to take it further. You know, we know that the thing that we can always fall back, and rely on is our reviews.
Yeah.
Because people watch them and we enjoy making them, and we know how to make them by now. And we can always, if we want to really experiment, we can always try and alter them, right? But right now we have our hands completely full. This streaming and podcast and D&D, and it just feels like there isn't a moment in the day right now where something isn't happening. So we're definitely not having any plans to do anything new, but maybe we'll alter things somehow, if that makes sense.
By the way, I know I wanted to sort of like interrupt you earlier on to say, like, I wasn't looking. No, not at all. I wanted to say, like, just to clarify, I'm not asking you to announce anything. Just like had you thought about like things, which obviously you kind of have. But yeah, I understand not wanting to reveal stuff. I didn't even expect you would anyway.
Well, we haven't got anything to reveal.
Okay. We haven't got anything.
There we go.
To reveal.
That in itself is a revelation.
Wow.
I talking of kind of new ideas or new things. Obviously, I wanted to just quickly talk about the D&D podcast that you've started. Not podcast, D&D series that you've started recently. And you know, you've got a very good cast of like characters in there as well.
Everyone on that show is fantastic.
Yeah.
I say that as a GM because I'm not in the show. I'm just running the show, right? But like, everyone in that show is seriously fantastic, and I love those people.
I think that it's fine to take some, you know, pride in what you've done there, because you know you are as much of a part of it as you know, Elaine and Ross and Emma and Paul. And I think it's a really great idea. But I was wondering, because obviously the D&D, want to say like market, or the D&D sort of like thing is quite a done thing, you know. There are lots of D&D podcasts, and I think we can look at things like Critical Role as ones who have like really the ones that are right at the top there. Why was it a decision to do D&D as opposed to, say, you know, like a different kind of RPG?
Okay, I can answer that in a very simple way. Because any decisions that were made were not decisions made in terms of looking at the industry or what it wants or what it needs, because it wasn't. I never had any illusions that a board game channel of our size could create a D&D show that immediately is going to take off or something like that. It was just an excuse to play D&D with people I like playing, but we wanted to put on a little bit of a show for it as well because it sounded like a fun thing to do. So really, no strategic forethought there. More like we want to play a role-playing game, and we're all quite rusty at role-playing at the moment. I was certainly feeling not confident to GM anything else apart from D&D. There are a lot of games I'm really eager to try that are more indie, that sound very, very cool and different and appealing. I haven't even played Blades in the Dark yet. I had a copy for years now. I haven't even played it yet. I have a copy of Spire. I have everything ever made for Spire because I just fell in love with the writing, and the art and everything. And I really want to try those. I haven't even had a chance to play them yet. But I've been so rusty that I didn't want to put on a show for something where I felt like I would feel too much out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, D&D is a bit like putting on a comfortable old pair of socks.
Yeah.
When you haven't worn socks for 5 years.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's strange at first.
You have to try new socks.
Yeah. No, that's a nice analogy. I like that. You just jumped in right at the end there with a really great analogy. I loved it. No, I think that's a fair answer. And I wasn't, I was more curious because it's RPG, you've mainly focused on board games this whole time, and then you're sort of like suddenly doing an RPG. I'm just kind of curious. I Inspired, by the way, made the comment earlier on about staying true to your roots and occasional silly video. I think he's talking about the thing we were talking about a couple of questions ago. But yeah, and I think it's a fair point. So talking of board games, so we'll go back and talk about a bit more board games. What's your sort of decision process or selection process when it comes to choosing a board game that you want to do a review on? Obviously, I'm imagining it's having something interesting to say about it.
Yeah, I think that's you summed it up pretty well there.
Sorry, I should only do one half of this. I shouldn't do the answering as well. My bad.
No, but we're absolutely right.
It's a conversation, right?
Like, do we have anything interesting or new or useful to add? Because we know there's going to be other people that have done reviews or are going to be doing reviews. What do we have to say that adds to this? And if we don't, then sometimes it gets put on the podcast. We talk about it if we don't have enough to say for a review, but we have something to say, then it gets put in the podcast. If we have nothing to say at all, then we don't cover it.
Is that
sometimes just to sometimes there's a very certain sense that the game is good, but the video is not going to work. It's just not going to work. And because by now I feel like there's the sort of like almost like a muscle memory thing with YouTube, and like you kind of know it's just not going to fly. And
sometimes we do it anyway if we really
like a game. Like I'd certainly last year I was surprised by how little attention Pipeline got considering how good a game it was, but I think that's probably something about the combination of theme and heft and an unknown designer that we didn't take into consideration. So we thought our video was going to do really well, and it actually didn't.
No.
But so we're not always right. But there's a certain sort of like, well, okay, if we spend 2 weeks working on this one review and no one's going to watch it, or by no one, I mean like a large majority of people aren't going to watch it, we're not doing the viewers a favor, we're not doing the publisher a favor, and we're not doing ourselves and the time we spend working on it a favor, right? So oftentimes we have to realize, look, can we shine a light on something, and does it need shining that light, and will enough people see it? That's really the three main questions, effectively.
Who are we doing this for?
Have you put out something that you were surprised by the sort of like reaction to it, and that works sort of like for good or bad reasons? Was there a video that kind of did really well that you were like, whoa, wasn't expecting people to react in that way?
That's a good question. I would have to think about that a little bit, because most of the time my sort of good general gut sense is. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sitting
Thank
there
you.
like this, and I'm like, well, I should probably get it on. Get rid of it.
I don't mind what you do.
My general gut sense, not to brag too much, is pretty good on this. So I am very infrequently surprised positively. Most of the time, just negatively. Like, this didn't do as well as I thought it was going to. And that happens from time to time. I thought Elaine had a really good idea about looking at some weird games from Essenspiel, and that video didn't do as well as I thought it was gonna do. So there's a few things that sometimes happen.
But I think that's quite a good example of a video that was more of a labour of love. We didn't think it was going to do brilliantly because firstly it was games people hadn't heard of. That was the whole point. And second of all, like it was a slightly different format in looking at 5, I think it was, games, but not in depth. So we didn't think it was going to do brilliantly, but we didn't think it was going to do quite as badly as it did. Never mind.
Well, I think again, in retrospect, there was something to be said about the fact that.
Can I just say one thing before you speak? The people that did watch it, we had a lot of good comments about it on the video, didn't we? So the people that did watch it did seem to have enjoyed it. So that was actually nice. Really nice. Sorry, carry on.
No, yeah, there was. I think that there was a moment of like. Where you had the idea, like, what if I go around Essenspiel and find all the weird games that nobody ever buys, and like, can we find something good? Because we've done that in the past for ourselves, and we found something good. And we thought there was a video there, but sometimes what happens is you don't find anything good. And that video had one game that we could recommend, but the shipping was so prohibitive that we wouldn't.
And that's one of the issues. So when we do actually look at which games we are going to be reviewing, we do take into consideration what is the availability of this game? How widely available is it? Can I just go on the internet and buy it, or do I have? How do I get this game? And also the cost and things like that. So we do normally look at that, but with this one we just didn't, because it was just a fun video. But I think we're quite frequently surprised at some of the nice comments that we've had. And some of the kind of throwaway jokes or whatever. Bits of the video or insights that we've had, I guess. People have responded to really positively, and that's always a really nice surprise.
Oh, I remember the video that did way better than I thought it ever would. Lord of the Rings Journeys in Middle-earth.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was an average game, an average video. Nothing about it was standout. But because it's Fantasy Flight Games and it's Lord of the Rings, a lot of people watched it, and a lot of people grumped about it because a lot of people really wanted to like that game. Where is it now? In the bargain bin.
We can never get it signed by Ian Holm now, though.
No, that's true, sadly.
Wait, you wanted to get it signed by...
I mean,
no,
it wasn't really a plan. It was just... I just have a very negative overall persona. So when someone dies, I'm like, oh, I can't get my book signed or my game signed.
Oh my god, no, sorry, that's hilarious. So obviously, you've mentioned this already about, your kind of your main objective when you're doing these things is, reviewing and being critics. Like, I wanted to ask you both if you've kind of always been a critic, like. And I don't mean that, you kind of pick at things in the life, but did you always feel like you were good, like analytic, like do you have any English kind of literature background or something? Because I always felt that people, I came from mainly maths background, but I feel like people who did better in English literature were very good at like analytical stuff and being very good critics, and that's why I think like I've never done being a good reviewer or anything like that. But have you guys felt like that?
I think you are.
I think you are as well.
Oh, that's sweet.
But to answer your question, yes, we are both from a humanities background. I have a creative writing degree. You have a languages degree. So there is that. I've never thought I would become a critic.
I think we're both interested in language also.
Yeah. I never in my life thought I would be a critic, if I'm
No.
honest. That only came out of a sort of a very deep interest in our hobby, and not so much even a deep interest, that's a wrong phrase, more like a fascination and a mild obsession. And I wanted to talk about it. I felt like I wanted to talk about it, not just because I never much cared about people knowing what I think about something, but I more cared about vocalizing these things so I could pick them apart. Because I think by saying these things out loud, I could come to understand it more. And I've certainly found that through the process, where now everything's a lot more structured and we write reviews.
Do you remember when we used to have scripts?
We didn't used to have scripts. That seems like a wild,
Whoa.
wild time. Yeah, like cowboys and aliens kind of time, from way before when, and it didn't also exist.
No.
But anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I find that as I'm writing about a game, like when I play a game, like, okay, I played a game, I understand it, I understand how I feel about it, I understand, whether I like it or don't like it, and I understand inherent strategies sometimes, hopefully. But when I write about it, I feel like I get to feel that game like I've never felt it before, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that for me becomes a lot more of an intimate process in terms of my relationship with the game. I'm sounding very, very pretentious right now.
That critics tend to be, though. That.
Well, yeah. Okay.
I'm joking.
That's what I'm trying to avoid. But clearly unsuccessfully. But yeah, no. There's something about writing and the process of writing about a game that really brings me closer with the game and games themselves in general. So I very much enjoy it still.
To kind of go in a little bit more on that, unless you had were you going to add to that? Oh, okay.
No,
I was going to add to that because Elaine's not saying anything, so I'm going to say for her, which I know I shouldn't do. But
right.
But Elaine doesn't think of herself very much frequently as a good critic, because you seem to, like you said, you sometimes have a negative personality. But I think she's one of the best board game critics I know, and I'm so lucky to share games with you, because talking about games with you is frequently revelatory and inspiring. There we go.
Aww.
So
that was sweet.
Is that in the script? Did you write the script for that?
No.
That was from the heart.
Yeah, I know. Right?
No, that was sweet. That was because I've asked. I can't remember. I've done like a decent amount of these kind of chats before. I remember there was a couple, like generally struggling to remember who it was, but we had another couple, and I wanted to ask them like how it was sort of working with the sort of your other half, and obviously it goes really well. But do you feel like you both are like two kind of halves of a jigsaw puzzle that sort of like fit together? You offer the things that the other person can't. Like you have the insights that the other person does, and then vice versa.
I am always frequently very amazed at how so I know we've said this before, but the way that we kind of do things, when after we've played a game X number of times, then we after each play actually we talk about what kind of things we found in the game, what we did like, what we didn't like, what did work, what didn't work, what we didn't understand about it, whatever, right? How the rule book was, how the whatever. Artwork, and then somehow Efka turns that into coherent words on a page, and I'm always, every time that you write a script, I am in awe of how.
I see what you're doing. You're throwing it right back at me, aren't you?
Yeah, well, because it's only fair.
Okay,
right? It's only fair
all right.
because you deserve that credit. You absolutely deserve that credit, because I am shocked sometimes by how we've gone blah, 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 and spoken about this, that, And Efka somehow remembered all of this and put it in a nice, readable, listen-toable format. So, yeah, I think we complement each other pretty well. We come up with different points. We think of different things.
We understand how to better and better. We understand how to delegate tasks between ourselves as well, and who's better at what, and we understand how to rein each other in as well, because frequently, there's just things we want to do that are stupid, and the other one vetoes it, and like becomes very clear that like no, don't do that. So for example, yesterday we were editing some B-roll that Elaine shot, and it was very nice and it looked really pretty, but it really didn't explain what was going on in terms of like the dialogue, right? This wasn't yesterday, this was the day before yesterday, I think. Anyway, and I was like, no, you have to go reshoot that. And Elaine really didn't want to, because she had an idea of why she was showing this, and like it looked really good. It wasn't the right thing. So sometimes we have to like go, no, stop doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
And you will do the same thing to me when for the script, when I go completely overboard on a tangent or something like that. You're like, no, delete that.
So I always read over the script and edit the script before we do any filming, and you're always very open to like me going, no, take that out, put this in, that doesn't make sense, this isn't funny. You think it's funny, but it's not funny. You're adding things, and you're the same with you. You're very good at that with the B-roll. When we're after I filmed the B-roll, if there is something that you think doesn't make sense, you will let me know, and I'll just toddle off and redo it. Yeah. But I think
it's important.
Well with that.
Yeah, I think those are actually some of the main elements of making a video, because like the script and the background footage, because both inform the viewer in different ways, and if I think you can make an entertaining a video as you want, but it doesn't mean anything if the viewer doesn't understand what the video is trying to say. Like if unless your job was to confuse the viewer, in which case, hooray, you've achieved it, right? But at the end of the day, we're as much as like I like going off the wall.
I was going to say, I think sometimes we have to rein each other in when we're being a bit too self-indulgent. Like you'll write something, or I'll film something, and I'll be like, I've got this amazing vision for this, how this is going to work, and you're like, no, that's rubbish. That tells us nothing. And the same for the script. Like, you write this, loquacious paragraph, and I'm like, what are you saying here? That doesn't tell us anything.
I like your use of the word loquacious.
That was very good. I mean, that you could tell from humanities background for sure.
I'm playing Scrabble with my mum.
Wait, how many letters is that? I'm sure there's too many letters. Just been checking up the dictionary. That's actually one of the things I've learned, because I've attended a few playtest sessions, and one of the things that I've learned is such a valuable commodity is like honesty, and almost brutal honesty, because it is tough to say the things that need to be said sometimes. And to have that is good, and at least you're doing that for each other, and that's probably why it works so well. So, keep it up. One question before I want to go on to do the game, because if anyone's watching and wants to participate in the game, it is a game you can play along with at home. So we'll do that. But one question I want to ask you before is, what's something about your job that people don't necessarily know?
How heavy a tripod is. When you're trying to move it around your okay sized living room now, or your tiny living room in our flat, and you're trying to get it into different places, it's about 4 kilos, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're lifting it 500 times to do 60 different bits of B-roll, it's very heavy.
Yeah, your back sometimes hurts after filming.
My goodness.
I think I sort of along the same lines. I'm not going to keep it long, because I don't want to make it seem like like board game reviewing isn't everything you thought it was. But yeah, no. I think people would be amazed by not how little, but how small of a percentage of actually playing games our job takes up.
That's true,
because there's so many other things that we need to do. We'd rather be playing games, But it is a surprisingly like small percentage of the entire thing is actually just playing games. Hopefully, we're gonna play a game tonight, so I'm looking forward to that.
We'll finish on time, so you can.
Okay.
I guarantee
Good.
it. Actually, I'm now curious about that. How much percentage of game playing is for reviews, and how much is for fun? Although that's probably not the best way to phrase that question, because there's probably an overlap.
You want an actual,
well, like
percentage.
how much time do you?
47.5%.
Roughly, like half and half. Like, do you play games for review purposes and for?
No.
Oh, thanks for following,
80-20.
Sammy Co-op.
80-20, yeah. 80 is for reviewing, and 20 is for personal fun. About that, but it sort of blends over.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a bit of an overlap, surely, like a Venn diagram with two circles like that.
yeah. No, we end up not having enough time to play something for fun. Like the thing I would want to do most tonight is just continue playing Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion because it's so good. And I really genuinely. But we finished the video. The video was out.
But you can still play. You can still play. This is the good news.
There's something else we need to play tonight. We need to play Imperial Steam and something. I can't remember. Yeah, it's trains and anime. Trains and anime.
Wow.
The game.
That's quite an unusual mix. But I'm looking forward to learning more about that.
You can imagine if you imagine the size of the world.
Yeah.
And now imagine, like how much smaller is the population of people who play board games, and then how much smaller is the population of people who play board games and enjoy trains, and then also play board games and enjoy anime, and where those two overlap. It's a niche market they're marketing to.
All I'm saying is I can't wait for any content that you produce about that game, because I have no idea what that's going to be about.
Me neither at this point, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of picked this up. By the way, anyone in the chat, if you do have any questions to ask, hello, Wazachi248. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you enjoy. You're just in time for the game. But if you do want to ask them a question, we're going to have a few minutes at the end of the chat to ask both Efka and Elaine questions. Train and anime, yes, that you heard that right. So write down any questions and we will put them to them at the end of the show. But most importantly, it's time for the game. Now, are you ready for the game name reveal? You're going to love this or hate this. It's called No Pun or Vowels Included.
Oh, wow.
So it's a wordy-based game, which sounds like you were a bit worried at the beginning, Elaine, about whether you'd match up to this, but you play Scrabble, so you're right back in it.
No, I'm gonna be rubbish in this. I'm not a native English speaker, so I'm gonna crap out of that.
It's not that bad, I promise. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I have taken, and I have to basically explain this a little bit. I've taken 12 board games. What I have done is I've removed all of the vowels from these board games, and I've also removed NP as well. I've removed the NP as well from it. So for NP, so there's no N's, no P's, no vowels in these words. And you just have to then guess the board game out based on what's left, okay?
Do I need a pen and paper?
No, because I'm going to post them to you. I'm going to post them to you in the chat. So if you've got Skype up, you'll be able to see this, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it up on the stream first, so for the audience to see, because they're a little bit delayed. And then we're going to post it to you. I don't know how you want to do this, if you want to just shout out the correct answer, and I'll just judge who was first.
Go on, that sounds
good.
So
this is head to head.
Head to head,
right?
yes. I've got a pen and
I've
got a pen and paper for calculating the scores, is what it is. Okay, so all right, so I'm just gonna do my little chart. Okay, so are you ready for the first one? So audience at home,
yes,
I'm gonna get this now, and Efka and Elaine, here it is. They do get easier, by the way.
That's it.
Yeah.
I
thought this is
Azul.
Yes, Azul. That's right. Yes, there we go.
Well done.
Well done indeed.
It's a curveball. It was just Z and L, right? Like I didn't expect that. I expected, you took Teotihuacan and removed all the vowels from that.
Let's not talk about too many games, because you might actually mention one that's coming up. All right, so let's get stuck into the second one. Elaine, your chance to catch up here. All right, so for the audience at home there, they're supposed to get easier, but that first one was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. But I think this one will be fine. All right, are you ready? Oh, actually, I've copied in too much. Bear with me. All right, and
something
Pandemic Legacy.
oh, Efka got there first. Efka just 50. You had it, Elaine, but Efka just got you to that first. All right, so
I'm terrible at this game.
all right, there's only been 2.
Because there was DMC, I started thinking Devil May Cry, like the computer game, right? Like.
All right, ready for the third one? Audience at home, and then
excited.
Efka and Elaine.
Concordia.
Yes, there we go. Elaine's back in it.
On the edge of my tongue. I always lose at Concordia.
Okay, so this next one, because we're gonna try and we've still got 9 more to do. So for audience at home, this is it, and for you guys,
Wingspan.
yes, you did it. Oh my god, this is closer than I thought. I have a tie break, by the way, so I have thought about
N
this.
and P
Yes,
is gone.
I know.
Right?
It's really like the vowels isn't
Yeah.
that hard, but with no N's and no P's is
Yeah.
really hard.
Semi Co-op are watching, and they got Pandemic Legacy right as well. So kudos, guys. All right, so for the audience at home, this is number
We have to win against
5.
them.
All right, ready? This is
Lagrange? No.
nope. I'm gonna give you a little hint. The first word.
El Grange.
Yes, there we go. I was gonna say the first one sounds very much the same as is written. Yes, Semi Co-op got Wingspan, by the way, so they're a little bit behind us, unfortunately. So they're getting the answers afterwards.
No, it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
All right, so we're gonna go on to question 6. Are you ready? Okay, this one they're getting harder, by the way, on purpose. All right.
You can't do that.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
That's some letters.
Snap.
Focusing on the first one.
Snap.
That would be legit, but it's not snap. Focus on the first word. What could that be? Do you want a hint?
I'm looking around a board game shelf and I'm like,
No,
I'm going to give you a hint.
Go
Simon.
on. Rising Sun.
That's the one. They are getting harder on purpose. I just want to reiterate that.
I don't think I would have ever gotten
That's
that.
a tough one.
Yeah, that was difficult.
That's a tough
I
one.
don't know why that word's so hard.
This one is also going to be tough. Oh, Semi-Cop are doing very well, by the way. I think they're not against you. Don't worry. They're playing the game themselves.
They're smart.
Semi-Cop got that one. Nice job. All right. This next one for you guys. This is a tough one.
Well, that's because they actually like that game.
All right, there we go. That's a tough one. They're getting harder. I'm going to give you a hint. The first word has no other consonants.
Go.
Oh, this is tough, isn't it?
I can.
Egg. No, not egg.
G is the first letter of the word.
Yeah, go.
Yeah.
I think it's go.
It's not go.
No.
It's not go.
Goo. Gee.
Gaia Project.
That's the one. Efka, you did it. Gaia Project. All right. So going to the next one. So for the audience at home, there it is. I think this one is slightly easier. Well, I don't know. They're all hard, but all right. There we go.
Code names.
There we go. That's it.
Are you winning?
All right. So we're going to go on to the question 9. This one is real tough. Oh my god, Semi-Cop, you're smashing it back there. All right, that one is tough.
I'm gonna get this one.
Rat Race.
Do you know what? That one is not what I meant, but that one counts. I'm sorry,
Oh
but
no!
that is. I believe.
I'm not sure there's a board game called Rat Race.
You know,
I
I'm
just
pretty.
said Rat Race.
If I'm good. Okay, so that is not officially the one. So I'm gonna keep it up.
Elaine, you still have a chance.
Root.
I'm going to give you another hint.
Vice.
Think geography.
Do you know what it is?
No.
Oh, okay.
Think a specific location. This one's very high up in the Board Game Geek top 100.
Ah. A location.
A city. It's a city.
A city.
It doesn't begin with R. It begins with one of the letters that.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
Parrot.
it's historical.
It's
Rome.
I'm just enjoying watching you struggle.
this is
Your
entertaining.
face is red.
I'm really warm.
This is a real tough one. I feel like I'm gonna have to just tell you this one.
Does semi-co-op know what it
They
is?
haven't got it. They haven't got it. It's a very tough one.
Okay. The first word is a city, right?
Mm-hmm. No, the whole thing is a city. 2 words.
The whole thing is a city.
Think South America.
It's 2 words. The city has...
Somewhere in America.
South America, I believe.
South America.
I want to say. My geography's terrible, but I'm pretty sure it's South America. It begins with P.
Peru. No, I don't.
Right.
I don't know.
Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
That was a ridiculous one. Oh my God, Semi Cope got it as well. They just got it. I think they might win if we were including them in it. All right,
No.
let's rush through these last ones because it's taken a lot
winning.
longer to do than I thought. My apologies, guys. No, that's totally fine.
Don't worry about it.
All right, this one for you. This one should be easier because it's got more words. I think you're really going to get it if you know what the last 2 words mean.
Dot. Food. I don't know what it is.
Let's just say this one is...
Okay, the second word is clearly of.
Moss. Oh, no.
This is honestly ridiculously tough. I feel really bad.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe we can try and get it together.
Yeah, go on.
So,
Second word is obviously of. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then it could be miss or...
You're never going to get the first word if just by doing that. I think
Okay.
it's too many things missing.
So the last word could be dot.
The last 2 words go together. You'll find them at the end of many games. Those 2 words. Not lots, but there's a few games with those specific phrase.
Second edition.
Dan?
Mansions of Madness second edition.
Yes. I'm going to give you both a point. Because you worked that out together beautifully. All right. Question. Oh, yeah. Semi-co. Got it.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like I'm just gonna. This one is tough. I was just too mean when I was creating this game. I think I was like, I want a challenge just in case, but that one is tough. I don't think
you made the mistake of thinking we're smart.
I think you are smart. I think it's just that I'm too mean. I think that's what I'm learning about this. I'm just too mean of a quizmaster.
Well, the second word is clearly sled. So what board games feature sleds?
I thought it might be solid.
Yeah.
Ooh, neither of you are right. Again, geography. Geography is important in this, but not cities or locations. Think of kinds of things, kinds of places.
Mountains, sleds.
Like
Sorry,
if you were,
I was being silly.
the United Kingdom technically is a sled. If you think of
An island. A terrible place.
Desert island. There we go.
no, it's not.
What?
No, it's not. There would be a D in that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Think about one of the letters that you weren't allowed. One of the consonants you weren't allowed.
P and N.
So the
Spirit
that's
Island.
it. That's the one.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We'll get this out of the way. It's the last one, guys. Don't worry. Although I think this one's got a clue in it, so I think you will get this one. Let me just give it to the audience, and then let's go for it. All right. This one's got a very clue in it. It's still very difficult, but It's got that that colon in it.
I started reading that as an acronym, and I'm like, no wait, that's just two words.
PND.
Yeah.
Very popular game, no longer being made.
No longer being made. Okay.
By the company that kind of created it. Anyway, it's still going on via
Red.
Fans are continuing this game. It's a specific kind of game. People spend a lot of money on it. Think card game.
Okay.
Oh, is it one of the Deckmaster series?
It's a specific kind of card game. Not a dead card game.
Android
That's the
Netrunner.
one. Yeah. I'm gonna give that one to Elaine. Anyway, that's it. You made it through, guys. You made it through. I'm sorry that it took so long.
Oh no, that's fine.
No, that's all right. I enjoyed myself.
I think
I also imagine that Semi-Carb got the last one in
instantly
like that, because I know they're big fans of Android.
They're going to be
Netrunner.
kicking themselves if they didn't, because they didn't mention it yet, but there is a lag behind with the stream today. All right, so I'm just going to... we are over time, but I feel like at least pitch you just one or two questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. All right. So one question, which actually is hopefully very quick question to answer. Bez liked the drawings that I used from your website for the thumbnail, and that's from your website. So who drew those?
Well, funnily enough, Semi-Carb.
No way. Oh, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I genuinely didn't know that, but that's really sweet because they're actually watching. Semi-Corp, they're amazing. Kudos.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely amazing. They did a bunch of redesign stuff for us.
Yeah.
So
they were very patient.
They were
also
they
with
were
us.
very
When we were
patient.
like, no, we want it like this. No, we want it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were very
So
good.
they were very good, and I like how things look a lot more right now.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
they did a fantastic
That's
job.
really good. I'm really glad to hear that. There was another question. I've lost it. I'm going to have to check Twitter. Oh, no. It was about the name. The name, no pun included. Because I confess I still don't know the origins of that name. And somebody else asked it. I was like, that's great. How did you come up with that name?
Well, actually, we said that we might not be able to do this show with you because you have a pun in your name.
Yeah.
But then we were like,
You broke...
Russ is nice. Let's do it anyway.
Yeah.
So basically just refusing to do puns, is it?
No.
Refusing to associate with puns.
Exactly, yeah.
No, it's just something stupid I came up with one day
Yeah.
because we didn't have a name and we needed a name, and I don't know. There's something about it that just stuck, really.
It was no pun included, no batteries intended.
As a tagline.
As a tagline.
Yeah.
Which didn't stick.
For board
But,
games, so
like,
just
so
got
you
it.
have because
Yeah.
you normally have no batteries included.
Yeah.
No pun intended, right? I can't say it that way round now. It just sounds wrong in my head.
Mm. But yeah, that's it, really.
It's a combination of that.
Yeah, it's just a play on words, which is ironic because it says no pun included. There's obviously a pun.
It's like an Inception level joke. That
I guess, yeah. It's just
wasn't supposed to
no.
be.
It's just a naff joke, really, and that's it. Yeah.
well, there we go.
I prefer always when I'm talking to Matt and Quinns, I prefer saying to them, which one of you shut up and which one of you sit down, because
But there was three original,
one of them's
right?
gotta be,
there was
right?
three originally, so
Yeah.
one of them must be like the
they
symbol.
hate that so much.
Oh man, you've just invited anyone who ever watches this video to annoy them by asking them that same thing.
Yeah.
But only when they're
Absolutely.
which one are you again? Shut up or sit down. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to piss them off. But I'm sure there are people who don't really mind doing that.
We also had a friend that went up to Matt Lees and said, "Hello, Lee Matthews." He did not, like, on purpose. Who did not find it very funny at all.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's brilliant. One final question. Ian from Unpopular Mechanics.
Hey, Ian.
He asked Bessie, great or greatest? That was his
best
question.
ever.
Yeah, Bessie is the best.
That's not a question. That's like fact.
Yeah.
That's just
Is she still
fact.
around, by the way?
She's completely
I
conked
keep trying
out.
to get her.
Yeah,
She
please, just to
is
say goodbye.
splayed out on the sofa horizontally, completely.
Oh my god. And where did you get her from, by the way? Like,
We got her just from a local lady who had puppies
In
and
St. Alban.
in St. Albans, yeah, when we lived there. And
she is so cute. Oh, like her little collar as well. Hello, Bessie. Does she respond to whistles if I whistled right now?
we'll
Because
see.
my
Let's
partner's
try.
dog does.
Oh yeah,
Oh, she does.
yeah, she's looking around and everything.
She
His
does.
little growl.
There we go. We found a way to annoy your dog over like video chats as well now.
Why would I want to do
No,
that?
no, I'm saying I've accidentally unleashed that
Look at
upon
her
your friends.
ears.
Anyone who's watching, I know she's so cute. I can't get over. That's the one thing I'm missing in my life. I think is a pet, and I'm such a dog person. She's a Jack Russell kind of. Yeah.
She is.
Yeah, she's a Jack Russell. She's just a very small Jack Russell.
Just
The smaller the better,
Yeah.
Jack Russells, in my opinion. But the bigger dogs, best for me. Like my favorite's a Bernese Mountain Dog, and if you don't know what one of those,
Wow.
look them up. They are like giant teddy bears, and they look as cute as they are when they're older as they do when they're younger. And that's such a rare thing to get.
I just like all dogs.
I like.
Yeah, I like old dogs.
I do like old dogs.
Well, no, that's not true. I don't like greyhounds very much.
Oh really?
I love a greyhound. I love lurchers. I love dogs with the long.
The long snouts.
Snout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I couldn't own a yappy dog though. I think like a small handbag dog they call them. I think I couldn't own one of those just because they're too high maintenance and they're quite aggressive. I find, but
The thing is, like, so what we read when we got her. Sorry, this is slightly off topic. But when we got her, because she was quite small, there's a real kind of attitude with small dogs of, oh, they're only little, it doesn't matter. Whereas if you have like an Alsatian, you know you need to train it really well, because if it does get nippy or yappy, then it's gonna really, really hurt someone. So people tend not to. I mean, obviously, like there are going to be some dogs that just have rough personalities, but people tend to neglect like socialization and real like training for smaller dogs because they're like, oh, they're just cute little dogs, right? So when we got her, I was like, okay, we're going to train her like she's an Alsatian. Let's pretend she's an Alsatian. So we socialize her. We get her used to cats and dogs and people and children and, you know, everyone we can, and make sure, you know, she's a well-behaved dog, and she doesn't.
I mean, she's still capricious, but I feel like we're incredibly lucky when I hear like a lot of stories.
Spoiled.
Yeah, she's spoiled, but she's not.
But she doesn't have small dog syndrome.
Small
you know,
dog syndrome. I like that. People have tuned in for board games and they've got dog raising tips. Perfect. This is why I love this format. It's just anything goes. I love it. Listen, dogs like Chihuahuas and whatever, I think they get a bad rap because they're seen as like, yappy. And, they're just dogs.
If you train them and take care of them well, then they're going to be good dogs.
Yeah, that's true. I saw a TV show once, which is like about a guy who was kind of looking at sort of badly behaved dogs, and there were some young ones, and after a bit of training, it doesn't even take like a huge amount either. Just like some things you can do, and it really improves their behavior. So maybe I'm just. I think it's just. I'm just a big dog person. My mum is a breed Saint Bernard dogs, so she's got like no lie, she's got like at least 11 dogs living in her house. It's crazy. It's always a great time to go back and visit her as well. I'll show you pictures next time we meet.
It's too big. Can't get her one of those.
We have 11 St. Bernard.
No, we can't.
We have 11
We'll stay in
Jack
touch,
Russells.
and if you want to be hooked up with a Saint Bernard, just let me know.
Yes.
All right, listen, I'm aware I've taken up a lot of your time today, and I really appreciate it. If you wanted to plug maybe like your Patreon or something, in case anyone's watching and wants to sort of like find out how they can support you or follow you or find out what you're doing.
I'd say if you don't know who we are, go watch some of our videos. No pun included, on YouTube. You can find them there. Watch the more recent stuff, and you'll find out what we're all about. And that's it, really.
I'm looking forward to. I haven't got to it yet, but I'm looking forward to watching the Jaws of the Lion video. It's on my to watch later playlist. So I'm really excited about that. Although I already know you already told me how you feel about it. So
I mean, it says it in the thumbnail. It's called a love letter. How do you think I feel about it?
I figured. And listen, thank you so much for tuning in. Obviously, if you enjoyed watching it, don't forget, streaming these things and other board game videos on my Twitch channel, which is for Chits and Giggles. And obviously, the social media stuff is down there if you want to follow me as well. But listen, thank you so much, Efka and Elaine. It's been a real joy to chat to you.
Thank you for having us.
And have a good day and see everybody soon. Bye-bye.